Hello and welcome to Witchy Wellness Radio. I'm your host, Lauren Chalantani, women's holistic health coach and fellow recovering perfectionist. This podcast was created to show you that your body is not in the way. It is actually leading your way. Hello, lovelies. You guys are listening to episode 167, Vibrational Transformation with Ginny Gane. I am very particular about the type of CBD and hemp products that I use. There's so much hype and lack of testing and quality in the industry. So the company that I love and use is Evo Hemp. Not only do they have a beautiful product like hemp seeds, CBD oil, gummies, even hemp chocolate, protein bars, protein powder, they also support a 40-acre co-op farm in Minnesota, which is farmer-owned, focusing on bringing equality and innovation back to Black, Indigenous, and other socially disadvantaged farmers. So if you are looking into trying any type of CBD or hemp products, head over to evohemp.com. The link is in the show notes, and make sure you use code WICHY, WICTHY, for 20% off of your purchase. And without further ado, please enjoy episode 167, Vibrational Transformation with Ginny Gane. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Witchy Wellness Radio. To show you learn how your body and emotions are not in the way, but actually leading the way. And today we have Ginny Gane in here talking about the power of manifestation, law of attraction, all things in between. And for over the past decade, more than a decade, she has been working intimately with manifestors and empowering women around the world to transform their mediocre lives into experiences of true abundance, joy, and love through leveraging the principles of law of attraction. Having studied intensely the power of mind starting at the age of 9. Wow, we got to go dive into that part. And additionally, through her degree in kinesiology, through the years of law of attraction coach, and now a best-selling author of and founder of Law of Attractions, or LOA Skills Camp, Ginny has a unique behind-the-scenes perspective of what works in true vibrational transformation and has been guiding individuals in virtually every area you can think of, and we will be diving into all of that and more. Welcome to the show, Ginny.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I'm excited to get into this and get chatting about how we can help your listeners really apply these principles.
Yeah, I'm sure if you're listening to Witchy Wellness, you might already know, heard of law of attraction. And we're hoping to dive into different perspectives or how it's working.
Spin on it today.
Yeah.
To really feel that power in your life if you haven't yet.
Yeah. Well, I would like to hear how you felt that power since the age of 9, pretty much. And, she's also a seasoned podcaster too, so she's a pro at all this stuff. So I loved how did you get into becoming this law of attraction expert and helping people find growth and freedom and about all the beautiful things in their lives today?
Well, I was really fortunate how when I was very young, my parents put me into this kind of course that actually taught me how to use the power of my mind. So it was very simple, visualization things, but just this understanding that what you're thinking about and how you're focusing has an effect on, and I used it most in sports or school. I wasn't thinking about achieving the life of my dreams at age 9, right? But it translated very well. It was a really good foundation to already have been paying attention to what are you thinking about and what are you feeling. So years and years and years and years of practice of that really put me in this powerful place because I had a very deep self-awareness of what was going on. So now I can start directing it, right? And so there is a little bit of a law of attraction story of how I got started, which was I was traveling in Australia. I had a solo year backpacking, and I was on the phone with my parents, and they said, hey, you should really read this book. They were always doing this to me, recommending self-help books. And I was and they recommended The Power of Your Emotions by Abraham Hicks Yeah. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, mom and dad. And hung up the phone. I started walking down the street. It was like an outdoor mall, and walked by a bookstore, and on the table sitting outside the bookstore, it was that book. And I'm like, no way. I'm like, seriously? So I'm like, there's something to this. I've got to get this. And so it was it was $35 at that time, which I could live off of, eat a week off of. So it was a big decision, but there was just something there, that pull. And then so as soon as I read that book, it was a very deep click and understanding. And I was like, this is the missing piece that I've been looking for. This makes it make sense. And I think there was something always inside of me that's like, there must be more to, not to life, but like a better way than just work hard to get what you want, to like this whole work hard and then you retire. And just the idea of struggling through a job, I think there must be more to that. And so this was the answer to that. And it was not only based in, ideas and what we at one point called woo-woo. It had the science, it had the vibrational scientific element to it. And so that was very reconfirming to me. So I love that. I started practicing that, and I was off. Like this was a whole new world. And I just kept living my life happily. And then a couple of years later, one of my friends said to me, we're just having a conversation, and she was like, oh, you're basically my law of attraction coach. This is awesome. And I'm like, wait, what? That's a thing? Like, it's pretty crazy how before that comment, I didn't even know that reality existed. And I was like, wait, you mean I can get paid for talking to people and helping them with the law of attraction? And then that was the end of that. Like, I'm like, okay, look up a certification and I'm on my way. And my, experience with my company has grown massively since then. And we have our own podcast, Manifest It Now, we've been doing for 6 years. And it's all been, one of the things that has been so powerful is like, I get to do it my way. Like, I get to have fun on the journey. Now, of course, there's been figuring outs and things along the way. And it truly is our life is a reflection of who we are, of who we're being, right? And so as I grow, my relationships grow, my business grows, and it's a lot of fun having that connection. And this is one of the most important parts, I think, of deliberate creation and leveraging the law of attraction is the conscious part. The conscious, like being aware of, hey, I want this experience. Now I'm going to gradually step into this woman living that experience, and then watch it come true around you. Like 5 years ago, the things that I had scripted, like the entire life is here. It's happening. And it was, for me, my own experience, there was never any massive change. It was all gradual. It was slowly getting more and more abundant. It was gradually falling more and more in love with myself, and then finding my partner. It was stepping into the body and the health and that. So there was never like, oh, you won $1 million, kind of thing. And you've manifested this, but the experience and the journey and the path has been so fulfilling. And to now look back and say, oh, I got to do the journey my way. And now, and I'm sure as your listeners probably have heard a million times, we never get it done, right? Like once we manifest one experience we want, okay, we're like, okay, now what's next? What could be more fun and more satisfying and more joy and all those things? So that's that's the summary. Yeah.
I know. I always, we start with these questions. I'm like, yeah, I was thinking, how would I answer this? Because it is a big question.
How would you?
Yeah.
What is your answer?
I don't know. I mean, it's similar to you. I've had pivotal moments in my life that have woken me up, yes. Right? To the extent of like, I don't like where I'm at. And yeah. I think this leads me into my next question. That's how I got into law of attraction, all this stuff, because I was like, there's got to be more than this.
Yes.
There's got to be more. And I knew exactly what I didn't want and what I hated in my life. And I was vibrationally stuck in those emotions, which we can dive into.
Until you weren't.
Until I wasn't. Yeah. And it takes that discipline of becoming aware of, your little 9-year-old self, of like the visualizations, but becoming aware of your emotions and how you're feeling day to day. And so let's dive into that topic. Like, let's say
it all starts with awareness.
Yes.
So even in LOA Skills Camp, that is the first thing we get clear on, and is practicing that, what's going on inside my head and then what's going on inside my emotions, seeing those connections. Because until you have that, might sound controversial because I'm a big believer in, like, we always have a choice. Until we have an awareness of what's going on, we actually don't have a choice to choose something different, because we don't even know where we're starting. So until you understand the principles of why you're attracting what you're attracting and why you are where you are, like what's going on in you, you have a little bit of information, but your choice isn't as powerful as when you are acknowledging, like when you have the experience. So as much as Lauren and I, like, you hear it from us, until you have the experience of like, oh my gosh, I have this belief inside me and that's what's showing up, or I've been feeling this way. And that is why this experience is like this. Until you have that for yourself, you don't really, really, really get it. And one of my a big principle of LOA Skills Camp is words don't teach. And this comes from Abraham, or probably every teacher in the world, but like, words don't teach, only experience teaches. And that has been so true on my path. Is oftentimes I hear a concept over and over and over, and then I'm like, and then I apply it in my life and I'm like, this is what I've experienced. And now I get it. Now I know it.
Yeah. I think for me, it's the same thing. Experience, action, like action brings clarity for me. And for me, I'm talking about becoming aware. It's never ending. Like it
never ends.
And I've been working through different things that I'm like, oh my God, I've been really addicted to these emotions. Like, these deep things, like not trusting myself, not trusting my power is what I've been, not trusting my manifestation power.
Cool. And
I've been diving into these beliefs, and I'm like, how do you build trust, like with somebody else? It's through actions, not words. Your words can, someone can say something and act completely differently. It's like, exactly. It's the action or the experience is what really enables you to embody that and to, like you said, act and choose differently. And for me, the thing I ask myself like multiple times a day with law of attraction, if I truly believe I create my reality, because we're always creating our reality. I think this might be an Abraham thing too. I can't, who knows at this point. Where does my belief fall short? Where does that belief fall short? I believe I create my reality, except for my relationships or my health, or like, oh, I'm never going to get that partner,
I love pointing that out to people. They're like, yeah, it doesn't apply here. I'm like, no, it applies everywhere. Oh, that's a great question to be like, well, if I can create my reality here, then how can I create my reality here? Yeah. Like, how can I step into that here? And when you were speaking just a second ago, and talking about action and how it's taking the action that gets us to embody the vibration. And we talk a lot in our teaching about beingness. And so beingness is about this, when you step into being the woman. So a lot of how I coach and teach is not about controlling or trying to manifest what's outside. So we take the desire or what we're called to. So that might be the house or the business, the car or the person. And then we say, okay, what's that experience that I want? Like, not only the thing, what's the experience around that thing? And then this is the key part, is who am I being when I'm living that experience? Who am I being? So that being includes, what am I thinking? How am I feeling? And what actions am I taking? Because that is what we can control. That is what we can step into. We can step into being the woman in love, in that loving relationship, or being the woman who runs that successful business, or whatever it is. And all of those things, all of your beingness happens inside of you, right? And so when you take action that's inspired by your core vibration, that's inspired, that comes from within you, which is your thoughts and emotions, then your action is so powerful. And it's like a representation of your vibration, your energy. And so taking action, what came to mind when you were chatting, Lauren, was that we communicate our vibration through our action. So we're always communicating, like we're always radiating a vibration out to the world, but taking action is like a more powerful way to communicate our vibration. So if we are wanting more abundance in our life, and then we train our thoughts, we condition our thoughts to get to the abundant feeling. So we're feeling abundant, and then we take action in the vibration of abundance, whatever action that is. And this is a key. The specifics of the action do not matter, but the energy of the action matters. And that is going to amplify. That is you being this woman or the abundant person that you want to be. And that's everything. That's like the essence of manifestation.
We can just close on the show. We're done. That's all you know. And it does sound so easy, right? When you're like, oh yeah, I just have to be that person, that vibration that's already there. But then you realize, whoa, that's really far away. That seems impossible for where I am right now.
Does it though? Like,
for some people it does. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
if you're in that position, how can you shift? What are some tools to start shifting your mindset if you're really stuck in scarcity or that contrast mode?
Yeah. Well, actually, this is one of the things that people actually get wrong. I'm so glad you asked this, because when we so one of the biggest things that we get in our own way with when we're trying to leverage law of attraction is actually trying to feel good too soon. Trying to feel good too soon, which means in this example, trying to jump from a place of feeling fear and lack and scarcity to feeling abundant and joy. Like that is way too far of a jump. And when we do that, if that's our goal, we're aiming to feel that abundance. When we're in vibration, we're going to, I hate to say this, but we're going to basically fail every time. Like we're going to get knocked off the track because there's too much vibrational momentum going with the fear and the lack. We can't, and I always use this example is imagine a train going really, really fast. And so that's the momentum behind the fear, the lack. And we are going to just stand right in front of it, telling ourselves, I should feel joy. I should feel good. I should be happy about this or whatever, is like standing in front of that fast moving train. And we get knocked over every single time. And so the answer when we're feeling that lack is actually not to try to feel amazing or even try to feel good. I know that's funny coming from a law of attraction coach, but telling you don't try to feel good. And the reaching for relief, feeling lighter is the best aim for us is to feel a little lighter. And immediately you'll see your mind jump in with that's not enough. That's not enough. I'm not there yet. And that's not good enough. That how can that get me to what I want? Right. But this is where trusting the process comes in. Trusting the process of just a little bit lighter, because our natural state is well-being, is thriving and flowing. We don't need to try to get there. We just need to get out of the way, which means getting those thoughts of resistance kind of out of our mindset and reconditioning our mind. And what I've found is the most powerful way to do this. And this is number 2. This is like step number 2 in LOA Skills Camp is releasing resistance. And this is like the skill. This is a skill, guys, to be choosing those thoughts that are helping you get out of your way, which is my absolute favorite one is I don't have to figure this out right now. And what that means is in this moment, I don't have to figure out my life, or I don't have to figure out the answer to this solution, right? Or sorry, to this problem, because we can't. When we're in that, we're in one vibration, we're in the problem vibration. We don't have access to the solution vibration. So if that's you, I think kind of circling back to the question, okay, what do we do if we are stuck in lack and is letting a little bit of relief be enough for now, right? So what if I didn't have to figure out this problem in this moment? And then let that little bit of relief be enough.
I have to say amen to that, because we just want it figured out now. We want, if I feel that way, then everything will be good or safe. And I always watch myself for saying, you said should be feeling this way, and I should all over myself is what I say.
Yes.
But I have my Post-it note here. I have just like that affirmation you said, it's everything's always working out for me.
Always.
And the only thing I have to do is reach for that next best feeling. Yeah. Which might be, if I'm in victimhood, it might be screaming and yelling and feeling angry. Like
feeling the feeling.
The feeling. Like I wanted to give like an example, because that happens to me. Sometimes I if you feel lost or like, that victim depressed feeling, sometimes it feels good to scream or let the anger feel, like really get it out. And it's not about quantum jumping, like you said, of like going from that victim to pure love and abundance. That's not going to happen. And both of our stories haven't been that quantum leap. It's showing up every day,
consistently,
every moment. And it's not about feeling like love and divine source every single moment. It's about becoming aware of where our rate of vibration is, like day to day, moment to moment, and going, all right, where's that next best feeling? But like becoming curious about it. Do you I think for a lot of people I've worked with and myself, there is, like you said, I should be feeling better. There's a lot of judgment of feeling the feelings. That's the
second, like biggest place people get this wrong.
Yeah.
Is they think negative emotion is bad, and therefore they ignore it or try to get away from it. And this has been so transformative in my own journey, only because I did this wrong at the beginning. I was one of those people that was like, nope, got to feel good. Only feel good. Don't look at the bad. And I was very like pushing against negative emotion, which is the opposite of actually leveraging the law of attraction, which is all about openness and allowing. And so even when we feel, let's just clarify and highlight, all emotions are good. So there's different frequencies of emotion. There's the lower frequencies and the higher frequencies, but they're all good. They're all valuable. And they're so, so, so important to our evolution and our manifesting everything we want. So I think this comes in to play because there's the idea of, I only manifest what I want when I'm feeling good. So it's like, I have to feel good, but I would rephrase that and like shift that paradigm in terms of, you don't only manifest when you're feeling good. I literally have examples of clients, they've been having a breakdown. So this one of my actor clients was walking down the street and they were in the middle of like a little bit of a breakdown, like a mini breakdown. They got a call from their agent and they said, hey, you got this leading role on a reoccurring TV series, which was their dream role. And she's like, how did I manifest that in the middle of a breakdown? And I was like, because you were releasing, you were open. So this doesn't have to feel, it's not always about feeling good. It's about being allowing and being open, which means like letting this natural life force flow through you. And if you make that your focus is to like be open, how can I be more allowing right now? How can I release resistance right now? instead of how can I feel good right now? That's going to get you so much farther along your path. And what else did I want to say about this? Just this, like, yeah, tuning into that natural flow and trusting that. And it all, this is it, is we only manifest in the moment, right? Like life is always right now. We are only ever living now. And it's the whole power of now thing. And I know it's very like out there to some people because we spend so much time thinking about the future, but our manifesting power is right now. So if we're resisting whatever emotion we're feeling right now in the moment, we're in resistance. So I like to say there's only two states we can be in: allowing or resistant. And if we are experiencing, say we're experiencing sadness in this moment, and we're saying, I have to feel good. I have to feel good. I shouldn't feel this. We're in resistance. So we're slowing down our manifestation, which seems opposite to say, we're feeling sadness right now, and we just allow that sadness. We say, okay, that's okay. And that's literally like the only thought you need to have. It's okay to be here. It's okay to feel this. And I think just no one is doing anything wrong here. We just haven't been taught how to do this, honestly. And I think our culture in general is getting so much more open and wise about teaching children how to feel feelings and letting those be things. So we don't like become adults and we're like, hey, I don't know how to feel feelings. Because then we're blocking our own flow. But yeah, and so it's that feeling the feeling. When you feel the feelings, you're not resisting what is in the moment, which means you're accessing your greatest power in this moment, which is being in that state of allowing. You're being allowing.
I love what you said, that the power of now, the only thing, manifestations, nothing exists outside of the present moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which where quantum jumps and those big $1 million things can happen.
Yes.
But also, everything in between.
Yeah.
But as humans that are in this 3D reality, we love to think about time.
Yeah.
And like controlling, like, when is it supposed to get here already? And I always think of this, it kind of has to do with time, but I was just popping in my head, the Abraham story of the driving from, I don't know if it was from LA to Arizona, and you have your GPS on and you're driving there, but you don't get halfway there and go, why am I not here already? And you give up and go back home.
Yeah.
You keep going. You keep allowing.
We do that all the time. We do it all
manifesting. All of the freaking time. And listen, we're saying time over and over again.
Yeah.
So what do you see with people? We get so sucked, and I'm a sucker for it too. But I will say the times that I did say it doesn't matter when, where, what, why. And I've done the releasing.
Yeah.
Things have manifested. My partner, we've been together for 3.5 years now. And out of the last relationship, I said, I don't care when, I don't care how, I don't care who. I was releasing a lot. And then like a year later, which I was not expecting, I was thinking like a lot longer, popped in my life. And I was like, what the F is this?
I love it. Oh, I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
That's it. So I kind of, over the years of doing this, I've really developed this kind of path that we normally go through, right? And I think a big part of that is what we're talking about in reconditioning the mind, and then the releasing the resistance, and then practicing that state of being. So when we get into the vibration of what we want, we feel connected to it. And so now we know it's possible, right? And that takes practice and just experiencing that vibration. The longer we experience and connect to the energy of what we want, the closer we get to it vibrationally. And then I think there comes this point where we're really just flowing along with life, feeling good, but we're sometimes getting stuck in the like, when's it going to happen? And that's our time to now we learn to be present. Now we learn this next level on our path of being right here and letting everything. So I'm going to jump off track for a second. Years and years ago, and I was creating LOA Skills Camp, and I had this moment of like, it was an insight that came to me. I can't tell. It was not a thought. It was like, this came from nowhere. And it was like, everything you want to be, you already are. And I'm like, what? I was like, oh my gosh. So, and all that's saying is there's something inside of me and in all of us right now that is like the blueprint to everything that is unfolding. So we don't need to seek it outside, and we don't need to seek it in the future. And the more we acknowledge what is here now, who you are now, all the parts of you love now, all the parts of your life you love now, but also the part of the woman that you want to become, how that's in you now. The more you acknowledge that, the more room you give it to come out. And so this is one of the powerful ways that I started to practice the presence, is that I'm living my fullness now. I don't need to get to a certain number, a certain amount of people, or a certain life experience for me to feel full and alive and like I'm living my potential now. And the more I acknowledge that now, the more, because this is what we're actually after, right? This aliveness, this fullness of life. And it's not out there. It's never out there. So when we begin to acknowledge that it's here now, it starts to show up more and more here now. And guess what? When it's here now, you're not thinking about the future. You're not waiting. You're not caught up in time. You're like fully here now, and life is amazing.
Yeah. I'm like nodding my head. You guys can't see me. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I can't agree more with everything you say. And it's exactly what we kind of started this conversation with, is that beingness. Mm-hmm. And that's just another way to describe that beingness. And for me, it's so funny because like I'm what Abraham, very woo-woo side and science side. I love listening to like,
it's not even woo-woo.
It's not. No, I say woo-woo in an endearing way. Yes. I love the neuroscience behind it too, because like we talk about the RAS, or reticulate activating system, and like how what you focus on, your mind actually will focus on. There's like,
your brain looks for different things. Yeah.
Like I can nerd out. Well, that's a whole nother show. Yeah. But like I listen to those kind of things. My partner, he listens to like motivational, like very masculine guys, like not Abraham whatsoever, saying the same thing, but in a different delivery. Totally. And there's this one guy, he's a bodybuilder, spent 10 years in the penitentiary and has come out in 3 years. He's built multiple 7-figure business of training people to overcome their mindset, but through moving their bodies and working out. And his biggest thing is, he says, it's about the person, a man who enjoys the steps along the journey more than the destination is a man that's unstoppable. Oh my gosh. Right?
Total like body goosebumps. And that's always my like sign of truth. Like that is where truth is here. When we are focused, we just talked about on a different podcast, like the process, like being in the process and setting goals, and how goals are not about the outcome. They are about the process. And just like you said, loving the process. And I love that even analogy of like, when you love the process more than you love the outcome, you're going to get the outcome you want. And it reminds me of one of my favorite quotes that I heard from a coach was, there's never a happy ending to an unhappy journey. Right. And it's like, okay, so we don't go from unhappy and work hard, unhappy, push, judgment, negative self-talk to, oh, now I've met someone and I'm in love. It doesn't work that way, because we are a vibrational being and we create through our vibration. And so we have to be happy and then in love, and then we attract the love. Like happy journey equals happy ending, which there's not really an ending, but you know what I mean? Happy outcome.
Yeah. And that applies for every area of business, abundance, health. And I've had to apply that in all areas and things where I'm like, what the F is happening? And I'm like, Lauren, don't focus on that outcome. You have to focus on that beingness. Don't
focus on the journey.
Focus on the journey. Yeah. And his name is Wes Watson. If you guys,
I'm going to go look him up.
Yeah. His delivery is completely different.
Yeah.
It's not sugar coated. If there's kids in the room, there's a lot of, I can cuss like a dirty sailor off air, but it's a different perspective. And one more thing from him, I follow him on Instagram too, just because I love hearing this perspective. He pulled up his bank account and he had $1 million in his bank account. He said, if I handed you this $1 million today, $1 million business, are you that person who could manage that money, who could manage that business?
Love it.
He's like, the thing about people that they don't get about successful people is you don't stop doing the things, the beingness every single day once you get there.
Yeah.
There might be another level up.
Yeah.
But like, you just don't get there and go, like we said, there's no end destination where you just get there and stop doing everything.
Yeah.
It's that
I really learned that in business in terms of, I was very conscious of building the business that I wanted to have, like a business that matched my lifestyle. And so I love running my business and I love how I get to show up and I have amazing clients. But I have heard a lot of stories that I, at one point along my journey, was like, oh, they're doing so well and everything's going well for them. They're so successful, ... And then I learned down the road, they hit a dead end, or they went into, like, they had a breakdown, or it was too much for them, or it fell apart, or they just didn't like it. And I'm like, oh yeah, like that really reminds me how I'm building the experience I want along the way. And therefore it's always more and more of what I want. Like it matches, my business is in alignment with who I am. And so my company, Live Your Truth, that's what that's all about, is creating a life that's in alignment with your truth in all these areas, in relationship, business and money and career, in your body and your health. Like there's so many different ways to thrive in your health. And it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. There's so many right ways to do it. There's so many right ways to make money or to be in love or to have a healthy relationship. But it's just us identifying, well, what is that for me? And then the tricky part is, or the part that takes practice, I don't even want to say it's tricky, it's just practice, is trusting that, is learning to honor what is best for us, because we have a whole world telling us it, should be one way or should be different.
I'm going to say mic drop on that one. That is like, because that's why I created this show is, the tagline is your body and your emotions. I added the emotion part over the year. Yeah. They're not in the way. They're leading the way. Yes. It's exactly what my intention was by creating that line and this show. Yeah. Was there anything else, Jenny, before we started to kind of wrap this up? Because that was such like a mic drop, good closing moment there that you wanted to cover before we start to close the show down.
I mean, there's so much we could go. I feel like we could just keep going. I wanted to circle back to what the example you gave at the beginning, where you said like there was something inside you saying there must be more. It's that part of us. Like that's that inner guidance, that inner being that even is a little beyond our emotions. It's not even like an emotion. It's like something deeper, like this pull. And that's in all of us. And we can start to create the space to listen to that. And so if there's something like that in you and you're like, don't even know what it means, I don't know what that means, just start listening more and saying like, what's that about? What's that about? And then the answers will come to you, which I'm sure will be a part of some part of the law of attraction, going to be unfolding and leveraging that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That is such a beautiful way to close the show. And for me, what sums that up is to be curious.
Yeah.
Curiosity.
Get curious.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jenny, for coming on. It was so lovely to like listen and learn and nerd out about this. It fills me up so much. And that inner part of me that said, is there more? Is like, yes, there's more. And there's always going to be more.
Yes, exactly. I love it too. It's been great.
Well, thank you so much. And we close every show the same way. how may we, the listeners, as an act of big gratitude for you today, be of service for you in return?
I love it. What feels really, really inspired is practicing kindness with yourself today. Like actually because this has been so transformative on my journey. It's like being kind to yourself with thoughts that are just like, I'm doing good. I'm doing my best. I am in a good place. I am where I am. I'm allowed to be here. Because anytime we give ourselves that space, we connect to our inner being, we connect to our heart, we are more loving beings. And that's the intention, just to make this world full of loving beings.
Amen. Yep. That's the intention of the show. Yes. And my purpose is exactly aligned. I know. Yeah, I'm sure yours is very similar. Yeah. And with that being said, if you guys listen to the show and someone popped into your head, that's for a reason. I always say this is like, you never know what that little bit of inspiration to share something like a podcast or a YouTube video, whatever it may be that spark to help somebody else in their self-realization and their growth journey. And if you guys haven't already subscribed and written a review, that helps so much with the silly algorithm, but it helps us, spread this ripple of love and light and law of attraction out into the entire world. I'd be so grateful for that as well. But thank you so much, Jenny, for coming on. It was such a pleasure chatting with you today.
Woohoo, it was so fun.
And remember, open up, surrender, trust, and let your body lead the way.